call the December 17th, 2024 meeting to order for Public Service Committee meeting. First item, well actually, I don't have my glasses on so I can't read this thing, but at the same time, is anybody recording the meeting outside of us? I think so, there's nobody present, so we're good. First item on the agenda is the review and approval of minutes from October 11th.
Mr. Chair, I move that we waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as presented for October 11, 2024.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. First, so it could be a fairly quick meeting, but department updates.
Okay.
You go public service.
The council approved money for a leachate pump station upgrade last meeting. We actually opened up the bid the next day. They came in at $641,000. An engineer estimated at around 740, so it actually came in lower than what we anticipated, which is good. So we're gonna, that right now is we're gonna get it under contract and start construction in the spring, is our plan. The additional money that was allocated to the sewer enterprise would just go back into retained earnings at the end of the, so whatever's not spent gets put back into the enterprise account. So that was good news, that it came in under budget, because that doesn't happen often.
Excellent.
The tree trimming project that we, the city assigned, we hired a contractor. That's completed, at least for the contractor itself. So now you've noticed the DPW is going up behind them, and we've taken the trees down, stump ground them and whatnot. So we're starting to get a jump on that.
I want to thank you for that because it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference, especially in my neighborhood. It looks so much better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's that. The salt shed across the street, there's been some progress made. The company has come in, they've cleared the trees out. We have hired we rented an excavator, which is on site now, and the DPW is doing all the clearing and the grubbing, hauling away the stumps. And we're gonna be trucking in some fill, and a lot more fill that we have to remove out of there than what we originally anticipated once you get in there. It just means we have to bring in more fill. The city has that's the gravel plant, screen plant, I'm sorry. So we'll be bringing in some bank run material. We're gonna have to purchase some gravel, which we anticipated as well, so that's underway over there. The plan is to try to get it ready for paving when the asphalt companies open up in the spring. Get it paved, and then we're gonna set blocks and then hire a company to erect the building, which we've already purchased. It's actually stored here at the DPW, so we're hoping to get that up over the course of
So we have the building.
We have the building out back, and yeah, we've already purchased that. We have to go out to bid to have it erected, but we're gonna at least get the foundation and everything in place ourselves.
Excellent.
Valve exercising, you allocated, when you approved the money for valve exercising, that means the water department, we're gonna go out around the city and start turning and exercising the gates, which we're required to do by the state. I'm anticipating that as we go out, we're gonna find some that are gonna be either frozen shut or frozen open. We're gonna have to shut down the water main, excavate and repair those valves, so that's what that money was for. Again, we're gonna try to do that all in-house.
I did have a question, I didn't ask during the council meeting, but I did have a question about that. So when we're replacing the valves that we do have to replace, the lines themselves, if we replace the valve, the line is still good? I mean, even though they're older?
Yeah, they should be.
Okay.
I mean, we have water mains we need to replace, and we have a list of it. There's gonna be another phase of water main replacement in a few years.
Sure.
I can't afford to do it right now, so once the sewer rates have, I'll say, once those aren't being raised, I'm gonna take a look at the water rates in probably 4 years and raise the water rates so that we can do the next phase in water main replacement.
Okay.
So there's probably another $15 million worth of water mains to do, so, but we'll at least get the valves replaced. And
Gotcha.
anything else? That's all I got.
Staffing?
Staffing, we're down, I believe we're down 4 individuals on the city side as of right now. I'm not hiring anymore. If I can get a mechanic, I will hire a mechanic, but I'm not hiring anymore because my salary line item in my budget is always used to offset other things, including overtime. And given I don't want to hit the city in the spring with overtime money, so I'm just trying to avoid that, so I'm not hiring.
I got it in the back of my mind.
Okay.
I was thinking overtime when you were started talking about it, so.
Now, snow and ice is different. That comes out of, our overtime is paid, when we're out plowing and salting and whatnot, that comes out of snow and ice, but there's an overtime is, you know, if there's an emergency tree down and things like that, that comes out of our overtime budget. So.
Understood. Understood. Okay. Any further questions? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you to your whole department for all you do. It's greatly appreciated, and it shows throughout the city. So I do appreciate that. Rob?
So, let's
That sounds like bad news.
No, all good stuff.
Good.
The transmission line project, which was the $1 million plus grant from the federal government to replace the 100-plus-year-old transmission line from Crystal Lake up to the tanks on James Street, has progressed nicely. The contractor, I believe, is currently kind of in holiday mode until after the new year. But they've got the work of the installation probably about 90–95% done. They've made the connection at the Crystal Lake and at the treatment plant. So the line's not active yet, but it's nearly installed. The biggest thing they have left is to make the connection up at the tanks, which will be a little bit more tricky and maybe take some time, but they've done a great job. They're moving right along. We expect that to be done, I think, by the end of January or sometime in that.
By the end of January.
Yep, they don't have much time left. So we're happy with how that's gone. The pedestrian bridge over 140, so that's moving along now towards 75% design. Right now, the schedule has us finishing 75% and submitting to Mass DOT in May. We've met recently. We had a coordination meeting with Mass DOT, National Grid, some of the other stakeholders, just to kind of get things going again. We also, as a team, the city's engineer on that project, and then Office of Community Development and Planning, who's managing the last piece of the rail trail from the substation up at Crystal Lake Cemetery down to where the bridge will be at 140. Both teams met just to coordinate, because they do come together. So that project is going to try and catch up to ours, so they're kind of running concurrently. And we had some good contact with National Grid, because of course it's their property we're working on. Some new faces there, which we're assured we're going to get better cooperation from them in moving these types of projects forward. It's taken months to get answers from them in the past, and they've committed to, well, what took 2 months previously should take 2 weeks now. So I was happy about that. That's good moving forward for other projects as well. The Uptown Rotary. At our last meeting, we talked about, and specifically you had some concerns in the constituents. So I know we've been looking at that a little bit more, but I thought I'd update the committee. There have indeed been accidents at the Rotary, minor in nature, but the biggest area of concern is where Elm Street and Pearl Street come together at the Rotary. I recently met with Mass DOT out there and our designer. They are currently brainstorming a little bit to come up with maybe some solutions. We had some immediate ones. Well, they end up being immediate. They're related to paint marking, so they have to wait until spring because we can't do that right now. But we talked about making some changes to the way things are marked, because we stood there and we saw within a half an hour some of the things drivers were doing. Where there's a yield line, it's a series of triangles. Beyond that, there's a lane, like a dashed lane marker, which people seem to be going up to that. So right away we said, we've got to get rid of that. So that's already been, Dane's Lines and Signs Department went out and ground that down. So that's gone. We're gonna add a little bit more signage, which can be done now. So there are some things we can do. We talked about possibly even moving down Elm Street to add more advanced notice that there's a Rotary there, because if you stand there for any amount of time, what hasn't changed with the rotary is that people come up Elm Street too quickly.
Mhm.
And that lends itself to some of the problem because they get up to the yield line and they're not slowing down fast enough, so they go beyond it. I think driver habits are still a problem. People just need to slow down. I've seen people in the rotary driving too fast, people on Elm Street. So there's a number of things, but we're still looking at things. By springtime, we'll have some recommendations on some more changes, and we'll get those done.
As a deterrent on Elm, maybe we can throw the speed limit sign up there if we have the right spot.
Yeah.
To slow it down. I mean, we did it on Parker Street and it seemed to work for a couple of the businesses that were there.
Yep.
I'm not sure if it's gonna help the situation, but it may slow people down.
Yeah, Elm Street's a tough one because it's a long straight shot coming up to the rotary. There are other paint markings they can do. They're kind of advanced markings on the street getting up to it. I even recommended, what about rumble strips? And they looked at me and said, no, you don't want to do that because the residential neighbors will hate you.
Noise.
Yeah, so rumble strips was on the table, but it creates, in that setting, would create a problem with noise. So the neighbors, you get more complaints about that, so we decided to stay away from that. But there will be some things, so we'll continue watching. I'll coordinate with the police on getting accident reports because our engineer wanted those to see the nature of what was happening. And hopefully in the springtime, we'll have some good, changes to make.
When I drive through Jersey, they put speed bumps everywhere. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you on all the side streets, they got speed bumps everywhere.
Yeah. That intersection is it's gonna be hard enough to plow without speed
Oh,
bumps.
I know. Those roads probably don't get plowed, well, they don't have the snow that we have.
Yeah, they don't, yeah. So that's the rotary. We'll still be looking at it and keeping an eye on what's going on there. We have a new GIS coordinator. I don't remember if at the last meeting we had made an offer. So she's been on since the beginning of the month. She's gonna work out real good. She's, expert with our GIS software. She has some good ideas. I'm hoping to sit down with the mayor after the first of the year to kind of float ideas on, maybe pages we can add to the website using our GIS software, whether they're community-based, here's all these new businesses, and just kind of graphical interfaces that we can do, but she has some good thoughts on that. So I believe she's gonna work out well. She's energetic with good ideas, so I think we made the right choice there. Part of that, and Dane mentioned, he talked about valve exercising. The city, we had a kind of a standard operating procedure done by a consultant on doing that. And she's currently working on updating that with the new water main work that's been done. She's incorporating GIS mapping into that to cover the things, the new things. And she's great. We just kind of explain what I want and she goes and does it, so.
That's great to hear.
Yep, it's working out good. I think that was a good pick for the city and it's gonna work out. That's what I have.
Questions?
The National Grid ACR work with the AB line.
Yep.
Does that timeline affect the paving between the Crystal Lake Cemetery substation and the?
I don't know, I don't think so, cause that's supposed to be happening, I think within like kind of the next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that hopefully will be gone before, the rail trail work continues.
Okay.
It's a good question.
Sort of a related question about the transmission line, in terms of paving, we talked about, James Street, part of Highland, possibly, right? Green Street, Elm Street, Chestnut, are those, is there any, what is the timeline for that? Is that the spring?
In the spring, I'm gonna do, the water can pay for Haywood and part of James,
Okay.
whatever was affected by the transmission main. So I'm gonna be looking at that, doing that in the spring. As far as, Highland, Glacier, Reservoir, it would be nice to tie all those together. That would have to be, I'm gonna go talk to the mayor, and I'm gonna try to get that whole neighborhood done.
Oh, nice.
But that would be a mayor decision as far as whether he wants to allocate the city or chapter 90 money for that. But that's my intention.
Cool, thank you.
Anything else? We don't have Justin here today, so I guess we'll skip out over that far.
He didn't send anything?
I didn't get a communication, but I can double check. Did he send something?
I don't believe so.
Unless I missed it, double check real quick. Apologize. No, I did not get a communication, so I can follow up and find out why. Council request, just a question, and I kind of gave you a little piece of this earlier. So I had Mr. Webb reached out to me, and his water, he didn't have water in his house, and so I think he called here, and someone came out to check it out. I think it was Ash, I think it was Ash Street, it could be Saunders. But, you know, older gentleman, struggling to pay his bills. We sent him a bill for like $240, does that make, or $200? Is that typically what we do?
If it was a call on a weekend or after hours, we do.
We do charge?
Yeah.
So what I had said to him is,
You could appeal it.
appeal it and bring it before us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just wanted to clarify there. I mean, he's going through some tough times. It was hard for him to kind of even elaborate what happened
Yeah.
to him over the phone. So I felt a little empathetic,
Right.
to be honest with you.
Well, sometimes people services, they get tuberculated, or for whatever reason, the soil shifts and a rock kinks the copper line or in between the main or the house. You know, it's happened,
Yeah,
without physically seeing.
understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Yeah, that was the only question I really had. I'll open it up to both of you.
No, just wish you and your staff a good holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, thank you, all. This is a key department in our city, and the fact that you guys take the leadership and run your departments with the professionalism that you do, and the people that you have working for you care about the city. I wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and a great 2025 ahead. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Any? Good.
Move
All
to
right.
adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, thanks, Merry Christmas.
Now I'm gonna get harassed because
Or
there's only 20.
National Big Fish.